Returning to the podcast, it's a massive pleasure to have Sky Sports News presenter and one of the best in the business, if I do say, Julian Warren, back for a chat. And an awful lot's happened. An awful lot's happened since our last conversation, but we'll get to that. It's great to see you again. How's things?
Yeah, you too, mate. Really good. Thanks for that build-up, by the way. That's really good of you. No, I'm well. Yeah, things are good. Obviously, getting back into the swing of the season at Sky at the first soccer special of the season on Tuesday with the first round Carabao Cup, which is always like a back with a bang night, which is so many games and upsets and penalties and all that sort of stuff. So that was fun. But I mean, it probably feels like to all football fans like we've not really had much of a break because it was last season and all the stresses of that, and then straight into the Euros, and then a couple of weeks later, and we're up and running again. But yeah, excited for the weekend. That's the main thing. Seeing how the Blue Boys get on.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, we will get to that because I know you enjoy any opportunity to talk about Everton.
But
I think, as I say, this time, it was roughly around this time last year when we last spoke, and so much has happened, particularly in football, news-wise, but none bigger, I believe, than in the last week. I honestly never thought I'd live to see the day, but Lionel Messi departed FC Barcelona to join Paris Saint-Germain as a free agent, and I've gone through a sort of a range of emotions. Obviously, I feel like I've somewhat grown up following his career as a kid to now, obviously, and I've gone from feeling absolutely gutted about him leaving Barca, as you could probably see how gutted he was himself in his final press conference at Barca, to just so excited at the prospect of him being in this PSG side. So, before anything else, what was your take on the move?
By the way, I spotted the PSG shirt, so
by the way, I got it before he signed. I got it.
I'm sure you did.
I promise.
You're going to get the 30 Messi on the back, are you, though, yeah?
No, I'm not 10 years old.
Listen, I'm like you. I mean, he went there, when he was 13, was it? I think when he first went to the club, so 21 years later. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day that Messi would be anywhere else than Barcelona. Even when the whole Manchester City thing blew up in the last 12 months or so, I still never felt that was going to get over the line. Just never, and obviously it didn't. But yeah, I just never thought I'd see this day. I thought he was Barca through and through. He'd be a one-club man. He'd leave a hero, 35, 36. Probably be the manager there in a few years after that. I just thought that was the way it was going to go. But and even in fact, the other day, when it first came out that this contract wasn't going to be possible and he was going to have to leave, I thought, no, they're just trying to put the pressure back on the La Liga to come up with some sort of loophole where they keep him, for the good of Barca and for the good of Spanish football. But so yeah, I was stunned, and in fact, I was on last night on Sky Sports News, and we were running all the pictures and the interview with him, and just the crazy scenes in Paris with him being sort of paraded as a PSG player, in the PSG kit. And it just completely jarred. And I think it'll jar even further when you see him for the first time out on the pitch, running over the white line, not wearing the Barcelona kit, but in the blue of PSG. But then I think when you see that first game when he's up front alongside Mbappe and Neymar, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, who isn't? As a football fan, you've got to look forward to that. Just fascinating to see, does it work? I mean, it should work, but no guarantees that those three big egos are all going to fit in and lay a ball on the plate for each other. They want to be the main man, don't they? So it's going to be really interesting. But yeah, Messi at PSG, it's going to take a bit of time to sink in, I think.
I know, it is. It's absolutely surreal. And as you say, in terms of the departure from Barcelona, I had a little look at the numbers, and they speak for themselves. I think it was 672 goals, and as was repeated several times throughout his final press conference, 35 trophies, 6 Ballon d'Ors, and the picture of him standing with all the trophies that he'd won in his final press conference was just absolutely incredible. Like you said, mate, I honestly thought he'd be a one-club man at Barca for the rest of his career. But obviously, given their financial issues following the mismanagement of the previous directors, that wasn't to be. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that the only clubs that could entertain a contract for Lionel Messi would have been either Paris Saint-Germain or Manchester City. Do you think the Jack Grealish deal basically disabled City from making direct contact with Messi and his party? And do you think that they'll regret it?
Whether I regret it, I mean, Grealish is pretty talented in himself, and how much younger is he? 10, 11 years younger as well. So he's got a lot to offer for the next decade or so. I'm pretty sure that, I mean, it's caught everybody in the hop, isn't it? I think it's caught, Pep didn't know it was going to happen. I think you could tell from Messi's raw emotion. I think, it came as a surprise to him as well in the space of a week. So I think obviously Manchester City have been lining up Grealish for a while throughout the summer. So I think obviously had they known this was coming, I would think that they would have put all their financial eggs into the Messi basket. I would have thought. I mean, what's going to be interesting in the next few weeks is to see whether City get Kane as well. Because, the outlay of £200 million plus in transfer fees, then plus wages as well. Obviously it would have been a lot of money financially to bring Messi in on his wages and the signing on fee, but obviously no transfer fee. So, I'm pretty sure had they known the Messi situation was going to blow up, they would. Whether they would have gone for him and Grealish, I can't see that. They might have gone for him and Kane. Imagine that, blimey. But no, I think Grealish, they wouldn't have pursued that. I think had they known they had a chance of getting Messi. But yeah, I think it was those two only, really, wasn't it? Sadly, Goodison wasn't really a realistic option, was it? I hear a lot of people saying, but could he cope with the Premier League? Could he cope with the Premier League? 34, is he past his powers? And are they waning now? But I look back at last season, he still scored 38 goals for Barcelona. And it's supposedly, apparently it's starting to fade now. 38 goals. Starred in the Copa, didn't he, last week as well. And he's going to France now, where, we all know the French league, in terms of its competitiveness, isn't the Premier League. It's probably a level below La Liga as well. I mean, in theory, he should absolutely boss that league, shouldn't he? He should absolutely fill his boots. But we should remember that last season PSG, even with Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria, etc., didn't win the Champions League, fell up short, didn't win the league. Lille beat him to it. So there's no guarantees that he's going to suddenly go in there and bang in 60 goals and win everything.
Exactly. And as you rightly say, I think, it's common knowledge that those two clubs were the only ones that could offer something of substance, really, in regards to his contract. And I really do think that instigates a real shift of power and a new dawn in football as a whole. But the argument that I think Messi's waning, I don't think that has any gravity to it whatsoever. I still think at 34 he is the best player on the planet. And it leads me to this question, obviously. It's argued he's in his last 2 seasons or whatnot. Over the years of watching him, Jules, do you have any standout memories of him? And do you think he's the GOAT?
Oh, I mean, I know from our era of watching Maradona, I was starting to watch football mid-80s, so I sort of remember a bit about Maradona, but I was a lad really, so I didn't really appreciate just how good he was. Then obviously it's the whole Ronaldo versus Messi debate, isn't it? And the thing is that it's so hard, and that's why it's such a debate. It's so hard to differentiate between the two and say who is the best. For me, it's between those two, I think, for what they've won and the longevity and the impact they've had on the world game in the last 15 years or so. So for me, it's between those two. I just don't know how you separate them because, Ronaldo, the physical specimen that he is, the ability he's got on the ground, in the air as well. I mean, there's not many better headers of the ball, is there, in world football than Ronaldo? The way he hangs and just stays up in the air, and the goals he scored with his head as well as with his boot. And then Messi is just a magician. He's just the ultimate football artist, isn't he? Some of the goals he's scored over the years. So, I mean, I just love watching them, and I think you're always aware, as we've been watching them over recent years, are we making the most of them, enjoying these guys? Because, now we're getting to the stage in a couple of years' time, they'll be off in MLS or wherever they'll be, and we're not going to be seeing them at the top of the European game. And have we made the most of them? I hope we have. And obviously, in years to come, we'll have all the footage we'll look back on. But these two guys, I mean, the numbers, the statistics are scary, aren't they? Yeah. And what they've won, I mean, they're geniuses, aren't they? I mean, they are absolutely brilliant. So I don't think we'll see their like for a long time.
No, I know. And that's a really good point. I'm so grateful that I lived in this era where we got the opportunity to experience both of them, and I certainly would hold the pair of them top three. I think Maradona's in there as well. Obviously, I'm just going off watching video and that, but to have two of arguably the greatest sportsmen of all time go head to head, ultimately defining the El Clasico rivalry over so many years. As I say, I'm massively grateful for that, and for my money, I don't think there's been anyone better, to be fair. But to switch gears now, you mentioned that another massive story to come out over the summer was, of course, Messi finally winning something with Argentina and winning the Copa Americas. And on our side of the pond, we had the Euros over the summer. And it's always fascinating to me to talk about the English national team because of the conflicting relationship between the English national team and people on Merseyside and people from Merseyside, if you know what I mean. And with me living in the city centre this summer, it was just absolutely fascinating to watch the Euros. And, you know, especially with the return of having some fans in the ground, at least, it was, for my money, you know, the best international tournament that I've seen. And you, of course, were at the heart of it with Sky Sports News. And as I said to you on Instagram, that picture of you on set with Wembley in the backdrop is one of the coolest photos that I have ever seen. So, just relate to me, how do you reflect on your experience of the Euros this summer?
It was amazing, and actually, you mentioned that picture I put on Insta at Wembley, the stadium, the studio we had down there. I mean, all credit to the guys at Sky who managed to get it, because I think of all the broadcasters, you know, nationally and internationally, all had their various spots around Wembley. I think that one was by far the best position in terms of location, right at the end of Wembley Way, the steps up to Wembley, right behind us. It was an amazing place to be, and particularly, you know, on those England match days, being there and seeing, you know, from mid-morning onwards, the fans starting to arrive, the numbers building, and just actually, that's when it really hit me. Being there at Wembley was, you know, fans are back. You know, we've missed this, and can you imagine if this had been the Euros? And for some reason there hadn't been fans inside. Can you imagine how different an experience it would have been at Wembley? You know, not having the supporters there, it was just fantastic. And actually, it was, I say emotional. Maybe that's going over the top, but it did hit me a bit. You know, just looking out, particularly the Germany game. I was on air for the build-up to the Germany game a few hours before kickoff, and I was there, and the fans were starting to arrive, and the songs were starting, and there was young and old. England, everyone face painted and with the flags and the shirts and stuff, and singing away Sweet Caroline and all that. And it was just really special, you know, to be there and to be part of it. I mean, we were hampered a little bit because, as you know, the games are shown live on the Beeb and ITV. So, you know, Sky were not a rights holder in that regard. So we couldn't go in and obviously cover the matches on air, but we did all the build-up stuff. And obviously we had people come into the studio and ex-England players. And so we did all the build-up stuff. So it was great. And just to be part of it, be down there and feeling that big match experience and feeling a major tournament on English soil at Wembley was really special. Obviously, it didn't quite finish the way we would have liked, and a bit of a sour taste in the mouth at the end. But all in all, it was an amazing experience. Yeah,
I'm sure that was absolutely massive to your career as a whole. You know, when you look back on that, that will certainly be special in regards to your career. Now, you mentioned the final not quite going England's way, and to be honest, that pretty much summed up my feelings towards supporting England, the final itself. Like, I'm just indifferent. I can take it or leave it, and I just enjoy watching a good game of football, you know, and it was absolutely fascinating. Obviously, England are a great footballing side with a great group of lads, and you've just got that tactical wit of Italy. Mancini's managed to build a fantastic side there. But of course, when it went to penalties, it was ultimately Everton's goalkeeper against Italy, in which case, obviously, I wanted Jordan Pickford to win, you know. And Pickford himself, he had an absolutely outstanding tournament, won the Golden Glove, and I honestly believe whichever goalkeeper came out winner of that penalty shootout may have walked away with player of the tournament as a whole, as you know, Donnarumma won the player of the tournament. So I just wanted to ask, you know, especially among Evertonians, he is quite a divisive player. What's your take on him?
I've been, like many Evertonians, I've been really split on Jordan, you know, and frustrated by him at times, and the mistakes he's made, and sometimes the way he is. But I think that tournament could be the making of Jordan Pickford. I mean, we've seen in games, haven't we, as an Everton fan and England supporters as well, what he's capable of. As a shot stopper, there's not many better than him. And you know, his distribution and all that, which people know very well about. But I think that tournament, just mentally for him, will have done him the world of good. You know, people now respect him, and also, I think he's the sort of guy that probably does take notice of what people are saying about him, and to have, you know, the nation behind him and Everton fans behind him, as most of us have been throughout, despite the odd frustration with him. But so I think that really will now kickstart his career. And I think we'll see the best of him at Everton next season. I really do. I think confidence-wise, belief-wise, I think he's not short of confidence, but I think knowing that everyone's behind him and knowing that everyone says, yeah, you are a good keeper, you are England's number one, you are undoubtedly the best keeper at Everton, I think that's going to really show him on to another level next season. And I think he really matured in that tournament. And it's easy just to say that, oh yeah, he grew up and just because he had a good tournament. But I really saw a different Jordan Pickford there. He had that little wobbly game in the semi, didn't he? Where there were just glimpses that maybe the old Jordan was just a little bit of him left there with a couple of rather strange moments. But overall, listen, I think we're really going to benefit from that next season. I just wish him all the best for next season.
Yeah, certainly. I've always been a huge backer of Jordan Pickford, and you rightly point to his maturation there, and I feel like that Jorginho penalty where the cameras caught him saying to himself, "No problem, mate, no problem." Then he pulls out one of the best penalty saves that I've seen. Like, as you say, mate, fingers crossed. I mean, he had a bit of a wobble in that pre-season game against United, but hopefully he turns in one of his better seasons this coming season. Now, I'm opening the door here to wider Everton discussion, as painful as it can be. I know, as I said, you enjoy talking about the club, and if there's any particular matters that you do want to cover, Evertonian to Evertonian, just let me know and we can get into them.
Okay, sure.
But, I mean, as I mentioned, Jules, we sat here last season. It was, on the dawn of last season. I think it was actually the day after we signed James as well. We were so optimistic. And we got off to a brilliant start. I believe it was like the best start to 126 years, something like that, to a season. We were top in October, second on Boxing Day, ended up finishing 10th, losing a manager who we all thought would take us on to Bramley Moor. We've opted for a very controversial appointment, and as I hinted to there, we lost 4-0. To a Premier League side who we should, in all honesty, be competing with next season in the league. I hate to say it, but I just don't know how things are going to get better. Can you offer any sort of hope for a generation of Evertonians that are just used to this?
Oh God! At the start of last season, I thought this was it. I thought finally, all the 25 years of waiting for us to finally turn up and compete at the top was going to be the time, but it didn't turn out that way, did it? I'm with you, man. I'm so conflicted at the moment, and I thought Ancelotti was going to be the man to get us back to the top table. It's a shame it worked out that way. Part of me can understand why he felt the attraction to go back to Madrid. Part of me feels really let down because everything he'd said about, he loved the area, he was there for the project, he was there for the long haul. And then part of me thinks, well, did we get to where I thought we'd be under him? And no, I don't think we did. Mm-hmm. I know it was a year and a half. Maybe this season he'd have taken us to the next level. But last 2 months of last season, I didn't see any sign that it was coming. Obviously, financially, it's a tough summer for the club. Neither him nor Benitez is happening are going to get 100 million to go and spend to go again. So it's pretty much the squad that we see now, plus a couple of free transfers and a bit of money on Damari Gray, unless there's somebody pull a rabbit out of the hat in the next couple of weeks, but we'll wait and see. So, yeah, I'm in a very mixed place with Everton as well. The Benitez thing, I totally understand where a lot of Evertonians are coming from, totally being against the appointment. I'm a little more chilled about it. Maybe it helps that I'm unfortunately no longer up in the northwest, down south now, so I don't maybe get wrapped up in it as much as the Evertonians in the area do. For me, Liverpool's 11 years ago. He's not gone directly from one to the other, so I can see past that. Was he the best man for the job at the time? I didn't see a lot of options out there that weren't going to be a gamble. In terms of CV and pedigree and English experience, I think he was the best man. But I totally get why a lot of Everton fans don't see it that way. So we'll wait and see what happens, mate. But one thing for sure, and I think everyone said it, he's got to get off to a good start, hasn't he? Yeah. Because if we don't win 3 or 4 of our first 4 or 5 games, particularly with the fixture list we've been handed, then it's not going to be long before the fans are on his back, and it's going to be very tough for him. So I don't know. I'm actually quite optimistic that he's the right man for the job we need at the moment. He hasn't got money to spend. He's known as a hands-on coach. We've seen all the stuff on the Everton social media of him really hands-on with the players. He makes players better. I've seen that in Newcastle. He made them better, didn't he? I didn't see a lot of evidence last season of Everton players really improving when I thought they would. So I'm hoping he gets more out of these players than we've seen in the last couple of seasons. His hands are tied unless he can spend some money in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to think we're going to be challenging top six, but I thought we'd be challenging top six last season, and look how it faded away. So who knows, mate? It's just completely impossible to call, isn't it?
Yeah, very unpredictable. And on that note of Benitez, I have heard just a variety of arguments for him, against him. One of the better arguments that I've heard is that he is a good appointment in that obviously we've only ever won something with a former Evertonian at the helm. You look at like Joe Royle, Harry Catterick, Howard Kendall, of course. And he, again, we thought we were ready to sort of catapult into the the top six, but again we still were stuck in this transitional period, and as you say, we're stuck for spending money due to FFP. So he, in that case, in the lead up to Bramley-Moore, may be a good transitional manager. But for me, the most important factor, and even more so than the former Liverpool factor, what worries me about this appointment is recent CV and his lack of recent success, if you will. Yes, I know he won promotion with Newcastle and stabilised them somewhat. But does that not concern you? Because he's nowhere near the manager that he was when he was at Valencia or even when he went to Liverpool and won Champions League and FA Cup.
Yeah, I suppose so. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, look what he did in China." But let's be honest, I think that was a financial thing, wasn't it? I don't think he went there to sort of really boost his reputation in world football. For me, anyway, I don't think so. Newcastle, all right, yeah, but Newcastle aren't Everton, are they?
No, exactly.
And yeah, all right, the success he had was Liverpool 2005 and Valencia before that. But experience is key, isn't it? I think experience is a big thing. And I think the position Everton are in now, we needed an experienced manager. We could have gone down the younger manager route, but anything would have been a gamble. If you go down the inexperienced route, and we've gone for a Graham Potter or an Eddie Howe or someone like that, they have not got anything on their CV to show that they've won anything, have they? So either way, for me, I don't look too much at that. I just look at the guy as a coach, and I know his reputation as a coach. His former players, love him. As I said, he was brilliant for them. Manager, the way he managed them, the way he worked with them, made them better players. So I just look at that. I'm not so worried the fact that his main trophies were 10, 15 years ago. It doesn't bother me too much. It was going to be a gamble whoever we went for.
Yeah, no pleasing Evertonians, is there?
Well, true, very true.
You said there, mate, and it is very right that I think his reception very much hinges on the start of the season and how well he can get off the mark. And our opening 5 fixtures have been very kind to us, if you will. We don't face any air quotes top 6 sides until October, starting with Southampton at Goodison on Saturday. Could you see a start of the season similar to the last?
Well, yeah, I think I could. I actually can. I made a note of them earlier. Like you said, up to the end of September, those 6 games: Southampton home, Leeds away, Brighton away, Burnley home, Villa away, Norwich home. And I went through, as we always do, don't we? Oh, we're going to win that one. We'll get 3 points there. Well, and obviously we don't know. That's what we've been saying earlier. It's such a guess at the moment as to what Everton are going to look like. Wouldn't surprise me if we're terrible. Wouldn't surprise me if we're actually really okay, and we win a few games, and we're hard to beat, and we start last season. We should beat Southampton. They're in a season of change. We've got to beat Southampton at home opening game. Rafa needs to beat Southampton opening game. You go to Leeds, you probably take a point. Leeds are a very good side now. Tough. Brighton away, you've got to go there and take 3 points. You'd think. Burnley at home, we've got to be expecting to win that one. Villa, hey,
I think Burnley's a tough one, especially if you look at the last time they were at Goodison, mate. They tore us a new one.
Yeah, but I'm saying if we want to start that last season, if we've got desires to be top 6, we've got to be winning that one. Then you go to Villa, who I think are going to be a team to watch this season. I think despite the fact they've lost Grealish, some of the signings they've made, really astute signings. So that'll be a tough one. So, by the way, I'm putting a positive hat on here. I'd take a point from that one. And then Norwich at home should win that. So if it works out as I hope it will, 14 points from those 18 available by end of September. That's my positive spin, and that would give us the sort of platform that we got last season but didn't manage to build on it. And then it's a question of, can you then go and get some big results in the games against the top teams? So, yeah, that's my glass half full view on things. If we sat here in 6 weeks' time, could be having a different conversation, but I hope not.
Possibly, and that's a good point that you raise. You'd like to think, obviously, Ancelotti and his tactics played a huge role in that trait that we developed of picking up big results against top sides, which we certainly lacked in recent years. But you would like to think, I don't know what you call it, the knack, the skill set would have transferred onto the group of players, and they will go into these big games and fingers crossed pick up results. To move on from Everton now, like you rightly said about the Euros, I mean, I guess they were still limited capacity to some extent, but now I am absolutely delighted to see that sporting venues are, near enough full capacity now. And given that I haven't been to Goodison in well over a year, I'm absolutely itching to get back. For you, of course, in the sports media sphere, something professionally that I'm really interested in. What's the atmosphere like, especially at Sky, now things are, touch wood, returning to the way we know and love them?
Yeah, it's great, honestly. I mean, it's been really tough, going back to the start of the lockdown. I can't remember how much you and I spoke about it last time, and we were only, a few months into it, weren't we, at the time? But, Sky was, like any workplace, was basically effectively shut down. There was only a handful of people going in. I mean, how we kept Sky Sports News on air with, a workforce of normally 200, but people working from home. There were only about 10 people, I think, in Sky Sports News, keeping it on air with this reduced gallery we were working from. So it was really tough. But gradually the numbers have been coming back, which just boosts the atmosphere. We're all football fans there. Of course we are. We all love our football. So the chat has started about the season. Obviously the Euros helped with all that because everyone was really involved and on board with that. But now it's just great. I was on Tuesday night for the first soccer special of the season on Sky, and just handing to all the reporters at the games and fans being there, and you could hear the noise and the atmosphere down their microphone, And this was the first round of the League Cup, which traditionally, you'd have half-empty stadiums and people are saving themselves for the league and stuff. But, there was huge travelling followings for League One clubs and League Two clubs. There was huge home fans for Championship sides, huge home numbers. And it was just, we've missed that, haven't we? We've missed it. And it just makes such a difference. I think everyone did a great job keeping football going last year. But it wasn't the same, was it? It wasn't the same. And just having fans back, there's a real buzz. And I just, like you, cannot wait to get back to Goodison. I'm not sure when I'll first get there this season with work and stuff, but it's going to be brilliant. We've missed it, haven't we? Yeah, most certainly. And as you say, that feeling of walking into Goodison when there's people there. Because I didn't get the chance to go when it was limited capacity, and it was painful for me. Like sitting there and watching it on the telly. I'm not going to have a dig at any of the top six sides here, but football isn't a TV program to me. I've been a match going supporter since like the age of 10. So, as I say, and how big a difference, Max, by the way, do you think it's going to be having the fans back? Because obviously we were brilliant away from home last season, weren't we? It was the home form that was the problem. We had some terrible results there. Do you think that we'll see at the end of that? Do you think the fans will make all the difference?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because there's always that sort of the go-to complaint of Goodison being a toxic atmosphere, but then, as you rightly say, you can just point to the results at home last season and say, how many of those, given if we had fans, would have it made a difference? So, as you say, mate, you would like to think that the supporters will get behind. They'll certainly get behind the team. I've no doubt that they'll get behind the team. I'm sure they'll be a bit cautious, given the summer and how it's went, but they'll certainly back the team. We've still got some tremendous talent there. Richarlison just coming back from winning gold at the Olympics. You'd like to think Calvert-Lewin will return to full fitness as soon as possible after a busy summer, but. And of course, this myself included. Like, I've still not seen James play in person, and I will never forgive the football club if they let him go, and I haven't seen him play in person. So totally. I'm holding on to that. The prospect of seeing James Rodriguez play live in person, that'll certainly keep me keen. But I do think it'll make a massive difference, mate. Going forward, we've been so long without them, so to have a full house at Goodison, it'll mean the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And like I said, I think it will depend on the start. And, Saturday, we know there's the reservations for Benitez from a lot of people, but I just hope everyone, and I know they will, Evertonians will, they'll get behind the team on the day. And, if we get an early goal, that could just set us off, couldn't it? And then, Goodison becomes a fortress again, doesn't it? And then it could be a very different season.
Certainly. sprinkle a bit of good football on top of that, School of Science.
Yeah, take that, wouldn't we?
We'll get in front of it. Listen, Jules, I know you strapped for time, and as always, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you. You're always welcome to come onto the podcast whenever you've got some free time, and as I say, until next time.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Thanks for having me on. Time was limited today because it's a daddy daycare day for me. So, my wife's working today, so we have to take it in turns. So I've got to go off and take them to the park or something, give them an ice cream and keep them happy. But yeah, good to speak to you, and thanks for having me on again.
Likewise, mate. Have a good time at the park.
Cheers, thanks, and up the softies. Let's hope for the best day.